Good evening, everyone. I hope my slides are visible and I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's get started with today's problem solving session then. So, today's session will be based on the syllabus of week 8. So, for those who are joining new during these problem solving sessions, we will solve some problems that will help you to solve the assignment problems. So what we will do is I'll be showing an MCQ question on the slide, and you can take 2 to 3 minutes to read and understand the question. Then you can type whatever you think is the correct answer in the chat box. So this is just for practice. It won't be graded, so you don't have to worry about that. So once you have got the answer, you can type in the chat box, and then we can discuss the solution to the answer. So that is the agenda for these problem solving sessions. And one more announcement, so tomorrow there will be an extra class, like a revision session for all of the weeks combined together. So I'll be taking some 3 to 4 questions based on each week session to help you to revise for your exam. And the class timing is tomorrow from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. The announcement has been made in the NPTEL portal already, and I think you will be getting a mail as well. You can join using the same link. So it will be a revision problem solving session before your final exam, and that is tomorrow from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and the meeting link is the same as today's. You'll also get a mail tomorrow morning, I think. So yeah, just this one announcement, and this week 8 is the final week of the course. So let's get started and look at the questions for today. So this is the first question. You can type the answer in the chat box, then we can discuss the solution.
Hello.
Actually, we have 6 to 8 session by another TA also on Tuesday. So, is it in replacement of that, or will there be a clash?
No, I think that would be happening separately, and that will be the weekly problem solving session. My session tomorrow will be a revision session.
Could you tell us anything about the exam format?
It will be MCQs mostly, like whatever you have been getting in the quizzes and assignments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, MCQ or MSQ?
If I'm not wrong, both will be there. You can confirm once in the portal as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
I can't see the question on the screen. I can see the participants.
Sorry, I have shared my slides. I'll just reshare. Give me a minute. What about the others? Your others are able to see? I think so because they have typed the answer in chat box.
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Yeah, I've just reshared it. Can you see now?
No.
Can you rejoin the meeting then? You can log out and join again. Okay, so most of you have got the answer correct. The first question is, what is the primary purpose of conducting a literature review and research? Does anybody want to explain why option B is the correct? And you can also explain why the other options are not correct.
Ma'am,
Yes.
actually literature review we will do because to identify the gaps, what I say, the existing knowledge. Because when we write a literature research paper, we have to know the about the topic, what in which topic the research has previously done, and what progress have done on this topic also. So all are defined, all are identified through the process of the literature review, and from the other existing words we can find the gaps, and then we can address it in our future, present and future works also.
Yes, that is correct. The primary reason is to see like what has been already found and what are the missing gaps that are there. So that is the main reason of conducting a literature review. So the correct answer is option B. If there are no doubts, then we can go to the second question. Okay, I hope the first one is clear to all. Let's move on to the second one. So the second question is about a research proposal. So typically, a research proposal is what researchers write about their research plan. What is the question that they are planning to address, so that they can get the approval and some grant or some funding to conduct that research. So that is a research proposal. So the correct answer is option B. The other options are more like option A, to summarize the findings of a completed study. So that would be more like a report or a paper. And option C, to critique existing literature in a field of study. That would come under literature review. And option D will again be a publication or a paper in a journal, etc. So the correct answer to the second question is option B. If anybody has doubts, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we can go to the third question. Okay, so I hope the second question is clear to everyone. I'm going to the third question now. So the third question is about the sequence of steps that is typically followed in a research process. And most of you have got it right. The correct answer is option B. Does anyone want to explain? You can just raise your hand. Why you think option B is correct? Somnath, are you there?
Yes.
Can you explain the answer to this question?
Actually, literature literature review, we can get some idea about the previous works, what have done, and finding the gaps. Then this knowledge is used to formulate a hypothesis, that is that in after getting the hypothesis result, we collect these kinds of data and analyze it, and draw the finally, after data analysis, draw the conclusions. But the other three options, we have seen that, like option A, that is first it says the formulate hypothesis, then collect data. It's not the procedure also, because the literature review is done as previous, because before of data collection. Similarly, for option C, first collect data, formulate hypothesis, then literature review. It's not the exact procedure of the conducting the research, and option D also not follow the process of the conducting the proper research.
Yes, that is correct. First, we will be starting with the literature review. Only then we'll know uh, about the field and what are the missing gaps in the field. But in the other options, they are starting with a different step. Like, if you just formulate the hypothesis directly, then it may be possible that problem is already solved in the literature. So that is not correct. In option C and D, they are directly going to the collecting data and analyzing data. So that also will not make sense, because only after you have did a literature review and then you have the hypothesis, based on that only you can do the experiment and collect the data. So the first step is literature review. So then you know that what is already discovered in the field, and what are the knowledge gaps in the field. Then based on the literature review, you can formulate a hypothesis. For example, if there is some phenomenon for which the field is confused, like what is the explanation, then based on the literature review you can hypothesize that maybe this is the reason why it is happening. So then based on your hypothesis, like to support or to refute your hypothesis, you can either conduct experiments or surveys and collect data based on that. And once you have the data, you have to analyze the data and do some statistical test, etc., and do a hypothesis testing to finally get whether the data is supporting your hypothesis or not. And finally, based on the experiment results and the data analysis that you have done, you can start to draw conclusions about what is happening. So the correct answer to the third question is option B. It has to start with review, literature review. If you have any doubts, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we can go to the fourth question. Okay, I think the third question is clear to all. Let's move on to the fourth question.
Ma'am, question is not visible. Now fine. Kindly zoom in, ma'am. It's not visible. Full question is not visible. Little
Now
bit
is it
zoom
okay?
in.
I think in mobile it is a problem maybe. That's
Okay,
why I've
okay.
kept it in full screen, and the font size also I've made big.
Still, when I go, now it is fine. Fine,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay,
Thank you.
okay, sure. Yeah. So the fourth question is also about the different steps or the different stages of the scientific process. So most of you have said option D is the correct answer, and that is the correct answer. Does anyone want to explain why the option D is correct? Jayashri, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so can you explain why you think option D is the correct option and why the other options are not correct?
Because without peer reviewing, we can't publish the findings, ma'am. We have to review the papers before we are going to publish the reviews. That's what.
Yeah, so that is one of the uh, cornerstones, like guiding principles of science, uh, that before we publish anything, it has to be peer reviewed, so that whatever the findings that are mentioned in the study are like actually valid, and what conclusions they have drawn from the data are actually based on the data, and the study is not like exaggerated or anything. So that's why peer review is a very important step in the scientific method. um, yeah, but the question is asking which is not a stage, and in the uh, fourth option they have said without peer review, but that is not correct. So the other three steps are part of the scientific method, like we have discussed in the previous question. But the fourth option is not correct, because in science, before we publish, it is peer review is a very important step. So that's why the correct answer is option D. If you have any doubts, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we can go to the next question. Okay, I hope this question is clear to all. So, since many of you have joined late, there is an announcement. I'm making it again for those who have joined late. So, tomorrow I will be taking a revision problem solving session where from each of the classes, like each of the week syllabus, I'll be taking some 3 to 4 question or 3 to 4 problems, MCQ questions like this, as a revision session before your exam. So this is the week 8 problem solving session. This will be the last problem solving session. Apart from that, tomorrow there is a revision problem solving session from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and the Google Meet link is the same, and the announcement is already made in the NPTEL portal. I think you'll be receiving a mail as well tomorrow. So if anybody wants to revise the syllabus, you can join that revision session tomorrow. Okay, so let's go to the next question now.
Ma'am,
Yes.
uh, NPTEL send a mail, I check, but both the session have the same time.
Yeah, the other session will be the week 8 problem solving session,
Uh,
and my
which
session will be the revision session, and both the sessions will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube.
okay,
Yeah,
ma'am.
but the timing
What will
should
be
be
session
different.
2 or session 1?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What will be your session? That is session 1 or session 2? The two links are given.
uh, Mine is the session 1 link.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The session 2 link will be the problem solving session. Session 1 link is the revision session.
Okay.
Ma'am, this session recording will you send at last
Yes, yes, it will
in
be
the chat
recorded
box?
and uploaded to YouTube, and that YouTube video link will be shared.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
But ideally, the time should have been different so that we could attend them.
Yeah, that's why the weekly problem solving sessions are at different times. And this session they wanted to finish by like they wanted to finish all the sessions by Tuesday itself. That's why both are clashing. And today I'm having this session, so the only free day is tomorrow, that's why. But both will be uploaded on YouTube.
The timing could be like 4 to 6 or something.
This I think this was the slot that they had given us already. Okay, let's discuss the fifth question's answer. It's about pilot study, or like more like a preliminary study before the main study. So the correct answer is option A, like most of you have correctly mentioned. Can someone explain why A is the correct answer? Abhishek, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you explain the solution for the fifth question?
Yes, ma'am. Mm, The flexibility of men study on a smaller scale. रिसर्च होती है स्मॉल स्किल्स में रिसर्च की
Yeah, so in the pilot study, uh, the this whatever is the main study, that will be conducted on a smaller scale. So the main purpose is just to check whether the main study will be possible or not. So before conducting the main study, like as a preliminary study, it will be conducted on a smaller scale. For example, if it is a questionnaire, then instead of sending it to some 1,000 people, maybe they'll start by sending it to some 15 or 20 people, and based on that they can adjust the make any modifications to the main study and check whether it is feasible or not. So that is the purpose of a pilot study. The correct answer is option A. So it is to test the feasibility as well as to make any modifications to the research design based on the feedback from the pilot study. If you have any doubts, you can raise your hand, otherwise, we can go to the next question. Okay, I'll go to the next question then. So let's discuss the sixth question now. The question is, in research methodology, what does validity refers to? So here the meaning of the word is in the literal sense, or the literal meaning of the word itself, the general meaning of the word. Validity meaning under what conditions it is valid. So the correct answer is option B. The extent to which a measure accurately represents the concept it claims to measure. The other options are not very appropriate. So consistency of research findings, that would come under reproducibility, and that is also another important concepts in science, that when we perform an experiment and get a result, it should be reproducible. That is, when we repeat the same experiment many times, we should get the same results consistently. And option C, sample size of the study, that is not related to validity, and duration is also not related to validity. So the correct answer is option B. And I think most of you have got it right. But if anyone has any doubt, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, we can go to the next question. Okay, I hope this question is clear to all. I'm moving on to the next question. Yes, Radha, you have raised your hand. Radha, are you there? Okay, so most of you have written the answer. So this question is about the importance or the primary purpose of peer review in academic research. So peer review means before publishing a paper, it will be sent to other researchers in the field. They will go through the entire study to check if all the claims that are made by the author are supported by the data and the experiments that they have done. And so mostly it will be like, first the authors will send the paper to a journal, then the journal will can either select the paper or reject the paper. So if the paper is selected, then it will go to other peer reviewers, and these peer reviewers, they will read the whole paper carefully, and the main purpose is to check the claims of the authors, whether their claims are actually supported by the data. So that is one. And based on this, if for example, if they feel that any of the claim is being exaggerated or more experiments have to be done to make that claim, then they'll give comments to the author that we feel that this is missing in the paper. Then these comments will go to the authors and they have to reply to the comments of the reviewers. And sometimes they may also do some more experiments to uh, reply to the comments of the editors and the reviewers. And after all of this is done, then finally the paper will be published. So these are the steps of peer review. And in a peer review, the feedback or the comments that the reviewers give are very objective in nature, so there won't be any subjective assessments like or any personal opinions will not be there, just very objective statements about and the main purpose is to ensure that the uh, option B is correct, to ensure the quality and credibility of research before publication. So sometimes this whole process of peer review will take some time because the once you have submitted the paper, then it has to go to the reviewers. So first it will go to the editor of the journal. Then the editor of the journal will take some time whether to accept it or reject it in the journal. So there, that will be the first time consuming step. And the second time consuming step will be the step where it goes to the reviewers and the reviewers have to give back the detailed comments. So this will also take some time because the reviewers have to critically read the paper and understand it before they can give detailed feedback. And once all the comments are received, again the editors will contact the authors, and then again the authors have to respond to the comments. So that will also take some time because most likely it may be that the authors have to repeat an experiment or they have to perform a new experiment. So the peer review process, sometimes it can be very time consuming, but it is a very important step to maintain the quality of research. So the correct answer is option B.
Ma'am, can I ask you one question on this?
Yes, sure, you can go ahead.
As per you, how much time should be taken for this? In between, how much time should be taken by the peer reviewer? Is there any limitation for that?
That will mainly depend on the journal that you are submitting to. So some of the journals will have a deadline, like within 1 week the editors have to accept or reject the paper, and within 3 to 4 weeks the reviewers have to give the comments, and then the authors will get again some 3 months or something of time to perform the experiment. So
That means it varies from journal to journal.
Yeah, it varies from journal to journal.
There is no time lag is like committed. A formal time lag is not there for every journal, right?
Yeah, it is not common. It changes based on the journal.
Journal to journal.
Yes, correct. Okay, any other doubts, or can we go to the next question?
Sure.
Okay.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, what is the difference between peer review and expert review?
So in peer review itself, typically they will send the papers to experts in the field. So in even peer review will be made by other scientists or other researchers in the field who are like well known and experts in the field.
So technically, peer review is synonym to expert review when it comes to this review of the research, because it is being done by accomplished and resource person who are apt in their field, isn't it, ma'am?
Sorry, can you come again? I couldn't hear you properly.
Ma'am, I was saying peer review is a synonym to expert review only. That means because it is being done by someone who is accomplished and apt in their field.
Yes, so typically for peer review, the editors will be sending it to people who are like known in the field. Who are considered an expert.
Right, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I hope we can go to the next question. So the eighth question is which of the following is an example of primary research data? So primary data means that the data has to be generated by the authors of the study itself. That is, the data has to be original. That is one of the main criteria. So option A, information from a literature review. So here the data that is collected is collected from a literature review or based on what has been already done, so it is not exactly original. So that is a that can be used as data, but it won't come under primary research data. So option A is not correct. Option B, data collected through surveys conducted by the researcher. So this option is correct because here the researcher itself is conducting the data of the study, or the data is original and specific to the study. So option B is correct. Option C, statistic from government reports. Again, here also the data is not collected by the researcher themselves. It is being taken from another source, so it won't be considered as primary data. And option D, findings from previously published study. Here as well, the data is being taken from a different source. It is okay, it is fine to do that, but it can't be considered as primary research data. So the correct answer to this question is option B. So you can also use the other kinds of data in the other option. So they will be secondary data. You have to cite properly and you can use that as well. Any doubts, anyone?
Can you give some examples of further primary data?
So one example is given here itself, like conducting any survey or questionnaire. Other examples would be like performing experiments and getting the data. Okay, let's go to the next question. So the ninth question is, what is the main purpose of a research hypothesis? And so most of you have typed option B, and that is the correct answer. Anyone wants to explain the answer to this? N Sarkar, are you there? Manjunath, are you there? Dhanalakshmi? Yes, Valli. You have raised the hand.
Yes, ma'am, Manjunath.
Yes, you can go ahead.
That is what, madam, in a research hypothesis is a statement that predicts the outcome of the study, and it is a key part of the scientific method. So here, the answer is that is B, option B, that is to guide the research process by proposing a testable explanation for prediction.
Yes, so the hypothesis means that we are predicting what may be causing a phenomenon. So if we identify a research question, then we can, maybe based on the literature review, we can make a prediction that maybe this is what is causing this phenomena. So that is the hypothesis. And so in science, the main one of the main concepts is hypothesis testing, where we form many hypotheses, and we try to test it using experiments and data, etc. So it will give a more structured approach to science. So the correct answer is option B, to guide the research process by proposing a testable explanation or prediction. So this testability is one of the main features of science, where whatever we are proposing has to be testable. So any hypothesis that we propose has to be, there should be a way to test it using any experiment. So then that gives the credibility to science that whatever findings we finally publish are have actually been tested experimentally. So the correct answer is option B. Any doubts, or can we go to the next question? Okay, we'll move on to the next question then. Sorry, there was some network issue and I got disconnected. I'll just share the slides again. So I hope now my slides are visible again and I'm audible as well. Let's discuss the last question today. It's about the concept of research methodology. So the question is, which of the following best describes the concept of research methodology? So it is a like a broad term which includes how, starting from all of the stages of research, like how to formulate a hypothesis, what are the different steps that are involved, and what are the methods that can be used to statistical analysis. So it starts right from framing the research question, and it includes everything till like publishing the work and communicating it to the community. So the option B is the most appropriate one, the overall approach and rationale for the research design and methods. So that is the broad idea of research methodology, and within this, the other option A, C, D, they are all like subparts of research methodology. So if it is a single correct question, then the correct answer will be option B. But if they have mentioned that it can be multiple correct question, then A, B, C, D, all of them will be the correct answer. So option B is the best description, but option A, option C, option D are like a subpart of option B itself.
Ma'am,
Yes.
as our exam have MSQ questions also, so in that case, what will we do in our exam? This type
In
question,
that case, you can select everything.
all of this.
Yes. But if specifically they have mentioned that only one option is correct, then you can choose the best one, like option B.
or if it is mentioned in the question.
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, once again, just scroll down now for the question.
Okay, 1 minute.
Only B if it is one like MCQ, right? No.
Yeah, yeah.
The overall approach and rationale for the research design and methods. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so these are the 10 questions for discussion today. And so yes, Surendran, you have raised your hand.
Madam, could you scroll up, ma'am? The last answer, the detailed answer.
And solution to the 10th question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that we have finished discussing the 10 questions for today's problem solving session. And for those of you who may have missed it, there I will be taking another session tomorrow. This is separate from the weekly problem solving session. So this the session taken by me tomorrow will be the revision problem solving session, where from each week I'll be discussing 3 to 4 problems to help you to revise for the final exam. And the timing is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow, and you can join with the same Google Meet link. And the announcement is made in the NPTEL portal. So it is this revision problem solving session will be the session 1. Session 2 is the another weekly problem solving session, and the session 1 tomorrow, which is the same Google Meet link as today, that will be the revision problem solving session. So if any of you want to revise the entire syllabus, and if you want to get some more practice problems, then you can attend the session tomorrow. Yeah, so that is the end of today's session. If you have any questions, you can stay back and we can discuss it. Or if you have missed any question, we can discuss it again.
Madam, could you please go back to the first and second question, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. I can just scroll up.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
So the marking process will be same as assignment?
Yeah. So if you will get partial marking if you have not selected any wrong answer. Like for example, if option A and option B are correct, if you have just selected option A, then you will get half the marks. But if you have selected option A and option C, then you won't get any marks. So make sure to not select any wrong options.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Scroll down for the answer, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. I'll just scroll down. And yeah, the link to the session tomorrow will be the same. I'm putting in the chat box again. 1 minute. Yeah, so it is the same Google Meet link, and it is from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. I'll just mention in the chat box as well. Yes?
Ma'am?
Yes, you can go ahead. I can hear you. Hello? Yes, Tanushri. You have raised the hand. So today's recording I'll upload in YouTube. So the recording is actually still continuing. So once the session has ended, I'll upload in YouTube, and you can find the link from this Google Sheet. I'm just sharing it. You can check the chat box. And these recordings will be uploaded on a YouTube playlist. So most likely today night or uh, tomorrow morning I'll upload it, so I can send the playlist link as well.
Madam, scroll up for the first question options, ma'am.
Okay, options. I'm just going up. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, so I've put the YouTube playlist link as well. This video will be uploaded by tomorrow to the same playlist. Yeah, and I think there is a discussion about single answer or multi answer, correct? Uh, so the I think that specifically for each of the question it won't be mentioned if it is single option or multi option, but I think like it has been discussed in the chat box that at least for the assignments this is the case, that if there are like these round boxes for single option correct, then only that option you can select, but for multiple correct then the check boxes will be there, and there you can select more than one option. But that is the layout for the assignment. For the final exam I am not sure. If any of you have given any other NPTEL exam before, then I think you will know how the exam will be. Yes, Nagendra, you have any question? So can I go to the second question if the first question is clear to all? So the first question is about literature review and research. So literature review, the main purpose is to go through the existing work and get to know about the field more, to find out the missing links or the unanswered questions in the field of study. So that is the purpose of literature review, and the correct answer is option B, to identify gaps in existing knowledge and inform the research question. And I think some of you have missed the first 2-3 questions, so now I'll go to the second question. Yes, Nagendra, you can go ahead. Nagendra, you're not audible. I think your mic is muted. You can unmute and speak if you have any doubts. Or you can also type in the chat box. So we have finished discussing the 10 questions for today's problem solving session. If anyone has any doubts, we can discuss that. I'm just scrolling through all the questions again. If somebody has missed it, then you can go through it now. If you don't have any doubts, you can feel free to leave the meeting. So I'm just scrolling all the questions if anyone has missed anything. If you have any doubts, we can discuss it. Otherwise, that will be the end of today's session. And we can meet in the revision problem solving session tomorrow from 6 to 8 with the same Google Meet link. Does anyone have any doubts, or we can end the session? Okay then, see you tomorrow in the revision session.